Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new show called Beyond Pretty. I started this idea of Beyond Pretty with Minji Kim, which is not able to join today, but one day she will join. But the idea is to have a show and tell, a roundtable with designers around how they actually use design on, not design, but AI in their design work on an everyday use case. So there's a lot of conversations about AI in the world, but there's not many conversations around the actual things that people do with design to for everyone to have access to so that they can either copy, improve, or adopt those ideas into their life or in the way that they work. So that's kind of like how this started. I just invited some of the designers that I know, some of the best designers that I know. And if this happens again and again, I'm going to keep inviting more and more designers so that the community grows and that we have a lot more insights on how designers are using AI to work. So I've invited all of these people, Samuel, George, Claudia. I know them personally. But the goal here is for each one of them to introduce themselves, speak about how they work or where they work, and what's their type of design specialty, and then how they are using design today with some actual live examples. So they will share their screen and see. We're going to be able to see their frameworks and the way that they work. So without further ado, I would like to pass on to Claudia. And this will be very open, Claudia. So everyone here will probably have questions, ideas to share. So feel free to start on, and we'll take it from there.
Perfect. That sounds good. Thank you, Fabio. So I'll start with a short intro. My name is Claudia. I've been a product designer now for it's coming to 15 years, pretty much straight out of uni.
Wow.
Studied digital arts media design, kind of like in the same school as Samuel, which is the connection point. And yeah, in these 15 years, I've been working for kind of different type, like organization sizes, from like really small startups to really big organizations. And through kind of websites, web apps, SaaS products. So I've kind of seen a range, and also a range of industries. So started in like HR systems, went through kind of a big telecom, and eventually have specialized in the music industry, working in like a music marketplace, and then Dice, the event ticketing company. And I'm now actually in the world of fine art, which has a lot of parallels with the music industry. So I'm working for a company called Artsy ArtNet, because the two companies just merged and are living in this interim period where they've preserved the two brands. And yeah, this is it. I'm a lead product designer at Artsy, so I'm responsible for designing B2B products. So the tools that galleries and auction houses interact with.
That's a very thorough background, and also like very eclectic, I'll say.
Yeah. So to the question of like a specialization, I would say in my case, it's probably more the discovery stage of design. I think I've repeatedly just been given a big project, like often a 0 to 1 project, and been told to kind of make sense of it, like get it to market. So that ambiguity is probably like what I would dare call my specialization.
Beautiful.
Um,
Before
so
you share some examples, Claudia, can I ask you, like, nowadays, how do you promote yourself as a designer? Are you a product designer? Are you a graphic designer? Are you what is like the role that you give? Because I think there's a lot of, I don't know, confusion in the people's head where product designers are now becoming maybe product engineers. How do you see that in your case?
in my case, I think product designer still defines me. I've still not been doing I've not been really engaging with a lot of stuff like vibe coding enough to call myself a design engineer. And I think we've probably all been through it. Like in the beginning of our career, there was also a moment where designers were trying to be more so than just a product design and like do coding, and those hybrids were already there. So I think it's just something that kind of keeps happening. There's lots of titles in the mix. product design still kind of makes sense. I do work a lot more with products, more so than, kind of landing pages, presentation pages. So it does
Beautiful.
kind of work for me.
And how are you using AI nowadays? Now, in the background, with the background that you shared, like fine arts, product design, I think that's an exciting mix. So I'm really curious to know how you're using AI in your toolkit nowadays, and how you think about
Okay.
it, actually.
I I will try my best. This is a big
Mm.
question. I'm like nervous to be the first one. But I think the TLDR there is that like my company really encourages AI. So from the get go, it's kind of just it just became something that we integrate in kind of everything that we do.
Hmm.
Uh, so I'll try my best to give some examples, but in my case, my stack
Hmm.
essentially looks like, I'll do everything with Figma Make, I think the obvious
Hmm.
one. The Claude suite, more recently, like starting to play around with Claude Design. Um, but also, in my work day to day, I have to give lots of presentations. I'll play around with tools like Manos, Gamma, GenSpark, whatever, like gets the job done. I like playing around with different models because I think different models do, or different products do, some things better than others.
Hmm.
Um, and then, yeah, tools like Whisper or Granola, like I'm a big fan of dictation. So anything that makes my job kind of faster on the day to day. That's a bit of an overview. Um,
That's really cool.
I think
It's
to
got a lot
show
of names
you.
that I never heard before, so I'm curious now.
Oh, I'm happy to also like share notes with you later if that helps.
Okay.
So thinking about how to start, I can maybe show you like, I don't know what the product looks like today and give you a little bit of a sense of
Hmm.
how I would use AI to like reimagine it a bit.
Hmm.
Sorry, let me just organize my screen. I was not very prepared for this.
That's all right. And guys, if you want to share anything, any questions to Claudia, feel free, as I've mentioned before.
Yes, absolutely. Keep them coming so I'm not just talking at you. Okay, so I'm gonna share just like the product just to ground us a little bit
Hmm.
first, but I won't spend too much time there, particularly because like the B2B side of the business has been, oh my gosh, has been like a little bit negligence for the past year.
Hmm.
So the product in itself is not like, I'd say it's very basic.
Okay.
So you're kind of seeing it here. It's essentially like just a page where um, galleries can see the artworks that they
Hmm.
have, like, search their inventory, set things up as shows and fairs, private viewing rooms for art collectors. They can add their artist roster, but then they can also do things like manage orders, have conversations with collectors. And this is all because on the other side, just to be thorough there, wait, uh, let me just stop sharing while I log in quickly.
We don't want to share any passwords with people. Very mindful.
Just to show you the collector side of things, because I know, like, it's kind of a niche industry. Not everyone will know this product. This is what it would like, what the website would look like for collectors. So you
Mhm.
can just browse artwork, see how much they cost. Artsy's mission is to make the art world transparent. Like the art world is a world that is inherently opaque. Like,
Mhm.
galleries like to just show artworks, not say what it costs, and kind of like sell through like private relationships. And Artsy is kind of trying to disrupt that a bit. So this is what the experience looks like for collectors. They can see the artwork,
Mhm.
more images, and even like buy it there and then. So,
Mhm.
essentially a marketplace for the art
Beautiful.
world. And I wanted to show you just an example of like this. I'm going to show you a fairly old project because the one
That's
that I'm
okay.
working on right now, I can't show. But this is something that I've done on Figma Make a while ago to help me
Mhm.
think through how to improve the product I've just shown you.
Can you
So I put
explain us,
together.
like, as well, how the project comes to your hand and how you think or plan about that project specifically? You can do it like very quickly if you want, but I'm just curious about that part as well.
Yeah, totally. So it would really depend on the type of project, but right
Hmm.
now, we've been using the shape up methodology to work. I don't know if you're
Hmm.
familiar with it.
Nope.
Um, so it's a Basecamp methodology,
Oh,
called
okay, yeah.
called shape up, and the
I believe
idea is that I'm a really big fan. I could talk about shape up for hours,
it.
but the idea is that you kind of shape everything together, hence the name, and that, is whatever visual form that the team uh, needs to grasp an idea, post-its, sketches, words, but you're kind of doing it as a collective like team.
Hmm.
We're trying to but also, defining the problem itself. So you're kind of brainstorming together, and Shape Up kind of starts with what they call a pitch, like a bet. So the
Okay.
pitch has a given format. So, it has like problem, motivation, then it includes a solution sketch, then it has like success metrics, kind of what you would have in a normal like product brief, but it's
Hmm.
sort of like kind of grasped together. And that works in my squad, but like in parallel, we're also doing kind of like design road mapping, product road mapping, like strat meetings. So there's different levels of like getting to a project, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Does that answer the question?
It does. Especially because you provided a framework, and I like that.
Nice. Yeah, it made my life easier. Mm. Yeah, here with this prototype, I'm really like, I'm sure it's not a surprise for most designers. Figma Make is quite accessible. It's right
Hmm.
there. I'm actually a really big fan of Figma Make. Like others will prefer Cursor. I think Figma
Hmm.
Make does kind of everything that I needed to do. Um, Here I was just exploring like, a more modern feel for the CMS I've just shown you. And I was
Hmm.
like, I wanted to see how it would do with a Slack type menu, you know, more modern language. And I just whipped this up together in a few hours. And then all of a sudden I have a really concrete artifact to take my team
Hmm.
through. And
How
I
did you set it up?
actually, yeah, so I wish I knew where interestingly, this actually, I had sketches from, before Figma Make was a thing, and I
Hmm.
literally just screenshot those sketches, gave it to Figma Make, and said like,
Okay.
"Can you turn these sketches into a prototype for me?"
Wow.
And gave it whatever context they need, like some designs, some sketches. But I love working with like just giving AI lots of context, like documents,
Hmm.
screenshots, and it actually did a pretty good job. Like, sometimes I will often, um, kind of copy the design across to a design file, do adjustments, and then copy back.
Hmm.
Sometimes I will, if Figma Make is struggling with a particular prompt, which happens a lot, I will actually go to Claude and say, "Hey, help me write this prompt in a way that Figma Make will understand." So, like,
Okay.
cross using these AI tools is something that I like to do as well.
Beautiful. And I'm really curious about the setup because you said like you take screenshots, you take pictures, you take notes, but do you like save them somewhere or you just paste straight into Figma prompt, use framework prompt text box, whatever it is that?
I will put it straight into the prompt box.
Hmm. Okay.
Um, I will only not do it directly in Figma if particularly now that Figma is after like implementing credits, I'm a little bit more money conscious. So I think everything that will, save me that I don't do prompts like, change this word to this word. Like
Hmm.
I tend to give it like just enough commands that it will make the most of my money, but not
Hmm.
get the AI confused, which I think is in of itself a bit of a science. Um,
So
But one
you
thing,
became, yeah, go ahead, Sama.
oh sorry, one thing I wanted to add on that is one way that I felt the same, and also the point where you built this uh, really cool CMS to make your idea really tangible, just and also to share with everyone, see how it feels. But then once you get to the next product, the context is lost, or maybe there was a lot that you could reuse from this that you can't because it lives on its own world almost. But now in the client that we're working now with, we started doing Figma Make kits with more context from the design system, more context from with templates, with specific pages and also interactions. And also, it looks like, I mean, with a lot of caveats, and it breaks a lot of times, most of the times. It's proving to work a lot better in preserving that context and also reusing the stuff that you already built. So, like for instance, we built a whole nav bar here. Sales exists, inbox exists, stats exist, almost like if there was a real product. And keeping that context, it's been proving to work really good for us. I don't think I can show that later, but
No worries.
that's unfortunately. But the Figma makes kits having helping a lot, improving that or preserving that context, those sketches, those ideas, that context from product vision, strategy, whatever.
Interesting.
That is really valuable.
I was trying to share my Figma kit because I've started using it as well, but yeah, I basically have this palette kit. I ignored the cute fox. My team is obsessed with cute foxes, so you'll see those in staging a lot. But yeah, basically we're trying to build in the design system so that Figma Make always has the context from that design system. But it's kind of a work in the making.
For anyone that doesn't know what's the kit in Figma Make, what is a kit? Is it basically a design system that is used across your projects, or tell me more?
So I think the TLDR is that I'm figuring it out a little bit myself, like how
Like
exactly
everyone else.
works. Figma, maybe Samuel already knows more, but Figma has had quite a few iterations of trying to solve this problem, and I think it eventually landed on Make Kits. And Make Kits is something that you can create in 2 different ways. Let me see if I can bring this up actually. I keep forgetting exactly, create a kit. So you can create it from a library styles, but also from an NPM package. What my team has done is creating it created through an NPM package. Just to be super, super clear here, like NPM is a public surface for developers where they can upload packages, and our design system was already uploaded publicly as a package. And so it was as easy as saying, fetch this package here and link it to Figma. I haven't worked out how to make it work on the library style side of things, but maybe you have some.
Just that's the part that we've been surprisingly. You'd think that it would be easy to still, hey, a design system exists in Figma. I'm just gonna link it. But sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it does work. Depends on how it's set up as well, how big it is, how distributed it is as well. Because we on this client that we're working on, we have the main design system. We have a design system for the primitives, other one for foundations, another one for icons, like we had for Cloud, for example, like a little bit distributed. And as distributed it is, the more it struggles with, wrangling all that stuff together. But NPM has been proving great if your product has been as an NPM package set up and the design system running live. But also it works with a lot of Markdown files as well. You can give it guidelines, roughly instructions how to deal with, the prompts of the product context as well. Kind of like what Cloud does, those MD files. So it's a bit of a mix of all of those things put together to then again preserve that context, make sure that your prompts work better and the output is also better.
I like what Claudia mentioned. I like the fact that Claudia mentioned NPM packages. And the question I have for Claudia is, and even for everyone that is here, like, was your familiarity with code before you actually started using Claude Code and stuff like that? And how did you feel in the beginning where code was, or actually we are becoming more fluid with code, right? Code is a given. We are just giving context and trying to work with code to make things work for us. How was that process, that transition process for you, if you didn't have any experience with code?
So for me, I do have some experience with code. I actually don't know if you would have been the same, Sam, but like back in university, we did have like web design as one of our subjects. And, we've learned the basics of like HTML5, CSS, like installing frameworks that we needed to, all this kind of jam. So I got quite comfortable with like front end languages coding. And then in my postgrad, I actually had the incredible opportunity to build my own app with like Ruby on Rails. And that was my first view on like backend technologies and how, well, not quite the first actually, because we also had JavaScript, and JavaScript gets a little bit into that world.
Mhm.
But anyway, like I had a kind of a healthy suite of like interaction with coding. Then I did an Erasmus program in Austria, and then they really took like that side of the subject like really seriously. Did a lot of like oh my god, I'm actually blanking on the name of the
Yay.
thing. But did a lot of database thinking, a lot of query thinking, and
So
so
code was already familiar for you.
code was already there, but as you'll probably relate to, it's that kind of thing that you understand the theory, but if you're not exercising it constantly, like it just goes as fast as it got in.
Mhm.
I personally, as a designer, I think that knowledge really, really served me well during my kind of years
Mhm.
working as a product designer. But by no means am I able to now go and like, manually code something that will be,
Mhm.
or I would be able to, but it would take me like 5 times as long as someone who's well versed. So anyway, this is a long response, but this is all to say that I've personally not been engaging as much on the coding side of things. I've still been sticking to like using design facing tools.
Mhm.
Sometimes, I'll go on the terminal to do the odd installation here and there when it suits me, but just sticking to like prompt based tools, and they've been serving me quite well.
Beautiful. Because I wanted to have a clear 20 minute breakout for between each other. I wanted to ask you one last question because our 20 minutes are running over.
Yes.
Is there any plugin or any framework or even any flow that you really like to use on an everyday basis in your design toolkit?
Oh, definitely. Gosh, that's a difficult one.
That's
I
all right.
think like I think that like the kind of I don't know if like it's necessarily design specific, but I'm completely addicted to the three tools I mentioned earlier.
Mhm.
And I think the highlight of it all would have to be Claude Cowork. Like I don't know how I ever lived without Claude Cowork. I don't know if you use it, but even yesterday I was deep in design, trying to figure out a design problem, and my PM pings me being like, "Hey, can you flesh out this pitch? You remember I
Mhm.
just told you about shape up pitches. Can you
Mhm.
flesh out this pitch so we can like hand it over to the team?" And I think back in the day, I would have been like, oh my gosh, I need to interrupt my work for a few hours, go and write this pitch. And with a combination of Granola and Claude, so Granola is just a note taking AI tool. But basically, I just like had a really quick 15-minute sync with my engineering manager, recorded everything in Granola, gave the Granola notes to Claude, and said, put this in a Notion doc, and it's just done. Like, it's
Mhm.
20 minutes versus a few hours. So I'm completely addicted to these kinds of flows. I don't know
Beautiful.
if sorry, I didn't share my screen. I don't know if it's helpful to do that, but that's, yeah.
I think it was very clear what you said. Like your framework is extremely clear, and you really like it, and you are addicted to it, which is amazing. I think I'm becoming addicted to mine as well. Um, so thank you very much for sharing that. I'm
Thank
gonna.
you.
I would like to speak with George. The reason why I like to speak with George is because um, Claudia gave us a really interesting perspective from the product side, and George is the first or the only designer I know, or actually the first designer I know that was a product engineer when I worked with him because I worked with George before. Um, and he had this title. I was like, okay, what is a product engineer? At the time, I didn't know what was a product engineer. So I'm assuming from the start, George, that you are becoming even more of a, I don't know, the king of product engineering. But tell me if you became a real developer or are you still a product engineer? And give me a little bit more feedback in how
That's
you
a
use your tools nowadays.
that's a really good framing and a good question I've been asking myself because
Okay.
the thing is, the example I brought for today is very basic, but it's an example of what I'm going to say. That previously I learned to code by myself because I wanted to be on the engineering bridge with the design, and I wanted to help. First was a like a selfish reason, just I wanted to build my own stuff without needing to be waiting for someone else.
Mhm.
And then it translated into, oh, I can talk the same language as the engineers, and oh, they cannot fix this visual bug because they don't have the mental capacity to even worry about visual stuff. So I came in and then fixed those, and it evolved into being able to just contribute to the code base.
Mhm.
Um, and this to say that while we were working together, actually, I made a plugin for automating a lot of multiple steps we had, like managing icons. Just for a description, we had 3 sizes, but 1 SVG, and I found a way that SVG you can give it a property, and it conserves it maintains the size of the stroke,
Mhm.
independent of the size. So that's a very hidden thing in CSVGs, but I use that to be able to size SVGs with multiple sizes and manually set the size. But in Figma, it's very limited and
Mhm.
visual. So the plugin was to automate all of that process with like
I still use
three
it today.
times. Oh, really? Oh,
I
that's
use it a
great.
bunch of times, dude. It's so
I do,
helpful.
I do too. Like I cannot just stop
I
using
I
it
want
because
in on this.
I think it's available in Figma, right? Figma Marketplace.
Let me
yeah,
show you. Let me show you a
it's in
link.
Figma. It's it's just it's very particular to a process.
Mhm.
Now I'm joining a new company which they only use one size, and they
Mhm.
resize it and they don't care about that part. But I really was focused on I want the icon to look nice in different sizes rather than looking worse if it's small or looking awful if
Mhm.
it was bigger.
Before we
So
move on,
this
George,
plugin basically, sorry,
let's say like before we move on, you forgot
yeah.
to introduce yourself. And
Oh
what are you doing at the moment? Because I started there, but you didn't complete it.
yeah, sorry. Yeah, so a really quick rundown on my progress. I started as a design in university. It was a global design kind of course. So we had industrial design, graphic design, design thinking, and just one single class about interaction design for digital things. So I was very frustrated because that's the thing I really liked the most and was the least. So that's why I ended up just focusing on getting myself into that world by myself. Uh, and then I always, because I wanted to be on this bridge, I really liked to work on tools for other people. But then
Mhm.
at the time, I was very fixated on tools for designers. So this thing at the time was the no-code tools, the tools that make designers not having to learn to code to be able to produce their stuff. Just like I've been into this whole process of having to learn by myself. Um, and then it's basically then my professional progress was on working on multiple startups that did that. And lately I got tired of that because it was consuming my soul, not
Okay.
being able to progress on that, and the tools just becoming the same. Maybe I was just failing, but it's another a way of looking at it. But yeah, I just jumped into crypto. So I worked on a crypto project, and let's just change completely because I was overworking, getting like going to bed thinking about the work because I was so passionate about what we were doing. So I decided to just change completely.
Mhm.
And it was a challenge, and because it's such a different world, and you had to learn so much more things. Uh, Again, technical things. But to your point, and Claudia's, the fact that I had a progress in engineering and start to learning. When I joined a new company, I immediately joined the engineering team and product
Mhm.
team, and I start contributing to creating the whole design system rather than just in Figma. in code too. So I know exactly the little components and little atoms are exactly how I wanted.
Mhm.
And yeah, so we work together with as a team to get things done in the best way possible. And now that worked out, a lot of things happen, and I changed again. Also, speaking of AI, I ended up becoming front-end developer and designer and product helper
Mhm.
because something happened in the team, start shrinking, so there was no more front-end developer. So George starts doing that work.
George knows how to do it.
Yeah, and the AI was just such a helpful teammate. Like I was able to, like Claudia, I was identifying myself with Claudia that I can do a lot of stuff, but it will take me some time. And that's why I brought the plugin example. I did it when we were working together, but it took me some nights on my personal time and weekends to get it to work as I wanted with my, because I learned how to do things, but it was like not the day-to-day thing. So you end up not knowing exactly what to do. And now with AI, it just you speak with it with the knowledge of what you want to do and how you do, knowing how things get done, rather than a very abstract prompt. You do a very specific prompt on what you want to do and what you would do if you were coding. So the tokens it uses to get there, it's way less, it's way quicker, and it does exactly what you wanted. So it's more like an automation tool to do the work for you. So yeah, I was a front-end developer, but I was just spitting prompts and do this and do that and fix this and fix that. So that's been my past months.
And
And
what's
now
the stack that are you using at the moment, George?
we were using just actually I was battling with limits and jumping between Claude and Codex, and then Cursor using multiple models until it complains about the limits. So until it was just burning until the middle of the month where no more tokens. And okay, let's do some visual stuff now. Have no more tokens to code.
I feel like that needs to become some kind of design meme, like the dates of like the limit popping up, and you're just like,
It's a real problem. It's a real problem. I think we're gonna start getting paid in tokens or something one day.
Oh my god!
I think it actually is. There's already some jobs posting that include tokens in a job description, which is interesting. But for saving tokens, I use this plugin or skill or whatever called Caveman. Have you tried that?
Yeah,
it's
I'm
really
using
cool.
that. It basically replies.
What is it?
You explain, George.
It does. Some of the tokens that are consumed is writing the result, like, oh, I did this and that, and because of this and because of that, and la la la. And Caveman just converts that text to I did this and that, comma, that. Like talks as a
Speaks
caveman
like a
that
caveman.
doesn't have all the grammatics, the fluff that especially Claude does. Like, oh, we're such a nice idea. I completely this, and it just goes straight to the point and says exactly what it did and what files it changed.
But is it like a Claude skill or something, or do you install it? It's like a third-party thing.
Yeah, you can install it through a skill, but there's for Claude
sweet.
and Codex, and it's basically a skill.
It also has like a super mode, which becomes even more caveman.
Yeah, it's very. I don't use that one because that one's just a bit harder to read. But it's very smart the way they, especially as I've been using it, the caveman response was very limited. Not limited, was exactly what I needed. But I wanted to like be able to explain what I've done, and I couldn't because I only asked what I wanted. So I said, okay, but explain a little bit better. And I noticed Claude said, okay, I'm turning off caveman to be able to will reply with much more detail. So it dynamically uses caveman. If he wants to give more detail, it just turns it off. But yeah, that interestingly, I've started using more AI, and of course, everyone is starting. And this company come in, an old friend and previous coworker talked with me to join in his team, and they're very focused on AI. And it's like token maxing. You have to use as much AI as possible. So it was right in the moment that it's already part of our work days to use AI. So it was a nice switch. And
any project that you want to share, George?
It's
I'd love to see your process, honestly.
That's the thing. I was a bit how do you say reluctant to come to this meeting, but I really wanted to listen to you guys and learn some things. But what I've been using mostly for coding. It's just
Okay.
I want something done, and so I get the thing done. But
you use Claude Code or use
I use Cloud Code. The company just gives everything. So I have Codex, Claude, and GPT and Codex. And I use Codex for really complex stuff. It's 5.5 is it's very powerful. It just does exactly what I want. Claude sometimes misses the 4.7. So I keep using just 5.5. Actually, I don't know if you guys are in this bubble of ethics and wanting to use the right company. And I've been through that phase. Like I turned off my subscription to Sam Altman. Let's go just Dario. And then the results are not the same. And I got really frustrated. Like, let's just give them money and give up on the ethics.
I will say something. This is not something that I know, but something I've been thinking about, because I started with using mostly ChatGPT, and then I canceled my account and migrated to Claude. And I was finding that mostly that I was like, oh, it's just not generating as good results. But then I was talking to a colleague at work, and we're comparing our screens side by side, and her results are just so much better. And she had been using Claude from the very beginning. So I wonder, is there something to, how it learns what you want to do, and is it just a matter of giving it more time? I don't know. I'm just kind of putting it out there.
that makes a lot of sense, and the context it builds with memory and stuff like that. But I always have all that tracking and memory stuff turned off, so I shoot myself in the foot constantly. So I don't help the things getting better to me.
I really like the Claude results. I'm getting a lot better Claude results than GPT ones. And what I don't like the memory thing as well, George, as you know me. But the thing I do is kind of like I set up my Claude so that the memory that it keeps, it's always attached to a folder. It's never rooted to the system. So the system doesn't know how I like to work. Only the folder knows. So that's kind of like how I'm trying to work around that. But I don't know if the system is I don't know if Claude is still writing in the system or not. But that's my
the context contained in a folder. Yeah. Same as me. I use the same tactic. It's improving good so far. But again, saying that I haven't had that multiple projects that I noticed that it got context from someplace else. However, I do set up a proper instructions and stuff like that. So it's more like having generic context. As me as a person, who am I? What's my experience? What's my company I work for, the clients and stuff. But then I use specific folders for those specific projects. Contained context, as I call it, like you said as well.
If you're up for sharing that at some point, I'd love to see it, because
I can share later.
Sorry to hijack your time, George, but that's another thing that I miss from OpenAI. Like I used to work with agents a lot, and then I had in the tabs all the different agents with different contexts, and I even had my company does not have a content designer, which I hate. So I'm, responsible for all the language side of things. So I had a copywriter agent, that has all this context of like company language guidelines and all that stuff. And I just like go to it as a little bit of an assistant. And now with Claude, I'm struggling to replicate that with Claude. So if you have tips, I'm like, please.
I will. We can share some. George, but you mostly use Claude Code, right? But how do you set up your Claude Code so that when you have to see the results of what you're doing, I'm assuming that you're just prompting, as you said. When you see when you have to see the results that you're doing and have to share that with the team, how does that workflow works for you? Because I'm assuming that you probably, in the company that you're working at, you are probably the only one that has both a brain for product and a brain for code. So I'm really curious to know, how does that work in the Claude Code thing?
That's a very interesting point, because on the previous company, it was just me, the CEO, and the 2 backend developers. So I was, of course, doing a lot of stuff. And there was no sharing. It's just getting things built and sent to production. Here, we are like 75 in this new company. And the whole company is doing that. We have specialized people in the product, what they're doing. And just a little bit of context, the company is called Motion, and they do advertising analytics. So you put your ads on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, and then they have their own tools to visualize the data, but their tools are not very good. So people tend to just go to a third party, connect their accounts, and see the whole thing and act upon it. Basically, just like basic analytics, you see the data, you can make it better, make this one is performing worse, what we need to do. So now with AI, it's just being a partner, not just giving you the data, but giving you suggestions on what you can do to make your ads perform better. So a lot of people that worked at working at the company, they were these people that were just looking at the data, and now they become just not customers but employees, and they are constantly vibe coding. Oh, this would be great for this customer. This would be great. Oh, this is not working really well. So we are just 2 designers and dealing with the product, the decisions. So I'm taking an approach with my other designer colleague is to, go after and fix it or make it better. Okay, this was out of our schedule. We couldn't get it on time. Let's get it and fix it. And do it the same as them, just vibe coding, some fixes. This isn't working correctly. Let's just push a fix and wait for developers to review that. But that's the thing. Like, there's such a balance between designers doing things, engineers approving the things that you did, and it's just a balance that you have to. It's almost like politics, and try to convince them and stuff like that. So to your answer, currently it's just doing the thing and pushing to GitHub and waiting for them to review. And as I'm new here, I'm getting to learn a lot of things. So I do a lot of bad things, and we don't do this way, we don't do this that way. So, but yeah, just another example. Probably you guys have been like animating stuff, and there's After Effects and there's Lottie that brings After Effects to web, but I never really liked that. I like to animate things simpler things through SVGs, because SVGs have some animating properties, and CSS also can animate SVGs code. And now with AI, you can just bring your ideas into the SVG. It becomes a really lean and slim animation object that you can just put on any website without
Can you code that as well,
JavaScript.
or you use some other third party to you animate those things?
No, just use Claude or Codex to animate the. I give this very specific. Actually, I do the thing in Figma with my steps. I want to animate this and that to this shape for that shape, And usually you use like framer motion to animate the paths to do the thing. But again, that's a third-party JavaScript library doing the thing, so you cannot just use it elsewhere. And if it's just an SVG, you can put it anywhere. So this is my dream: is that not needing JavaScript to do animations on SVG is also
So you
really
do
nice.
you do still use a Figma then a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Interesting. I stopped using Figma in my previous company. Like I had the design
Completely.
system there completely. I just didn't use it. It was so much faster to just do things on the code because I had the components in code. I had the ideas in prompts. It just reused a lot of the things, like creating a new page. Just use the page that exists. So the whole thing is there. It's just a new flow, a new interaction that needs to be done, and I'll do directly in code. And there's no designer there now, but the CEO took over and they continue the work basically with Codex. So it's they don't really need a designer now. It's
But I had a question
interesting.
about that actually, like because design in general is very visual, right? So normally in the normal sense of design, you would like discover what the problem is, flesh it out, have a lot of meetings, just do some wireframes, validate that, do some visual design, validate that, everything in Figma or Sketch, whatever. But now everything, it looks like, in that case, for the previous company you were in, George, it's like I design something in code, I do an MR, or I put it live somewhere, and then you review it, test it out for yourself, the prototype or whatever it is, even live using the live code, because I'm guessing that's what you're using.
Yeah.
And then it's a decision of, hey, is this good enough? Should we test this, or should it just actually go live? So it's like the design process is being compressed a lot, not as dependent of the tools as it was before. And it seems like the source of truth is actually becoming the code, because ultimately that's what it will be, right? The product is the code. It's experience that is live, that people actually use in, be it a native app or web, and just getting as close to that as possible, as early as possible. Seems like is it working, or did it work great for that company compared to where you are at the moment? Is it very similar, or?
It's kind of similar, but the customer base is huge now, and it wasn't before. So we just live fixing bugs. We see a bug in prod, you fix it immediately. There's no process of releasing, etc.
Creating
it
a
just goes
ticket
immediately.
for
It just goes. And that's for like day-to-day things. For product and decisions, there was talks, there was conversations, there's a granola recording everything, summarizing into topics, and okay, let's execute.
So less memos, more demos.
Yes, exactly. And here is the same thing. Like we do use tool, like you were saying in the beginning, just get a lot of conversations. There are a lot of discussions. This team, that's why I was in Canada last week, just brings everyone into one room from around the world. There we are pretty remote, and discuss what we're gonna do, what's not working, etc. Then disperse and go working on your own pace. But we have a lot of granola meetings that we can just synthesize and now help us get the decisions into the process. But yeah, it's just a fast pace now that the design as I knew it is just merging into a new thing that is just spitballing things and they're happening. It's not good, fix it. It's working, leave it alone. Let's do the next thing. So there's almost no backlog. It's just keep doing things.
Sorry, just a question, because I find that super interesting, because in my case, I'm doing some of those things because I'm not going directly into code and pushing things for review. What I actually ends up happening, which is a bit inefficient, is like I'm coding on my side of Claude, hand over to engineers, then they code on their side with Claude, and it's like basically Claude trying to do the same things on two ends, and it's a little bit of chaos. But roughly, like, it's trying to do the same thing. It's like we're all utilizing AI tools to get us there faster. And, for the past 6 months, to be honest, I haven't even been using Figma Design. It's been mostly Figma Make, which kind of blows my mind. similar situation. But this is all like just context to lead me to my question, like where does research, where does like actual problem discovery fit into here in your mind?
Yeah, I've been here for 1 month, so I'm still navigating how things work. But there's a lot of just background discussions. I guess I'm still not being invited to those. But my other friend they are doing the whole of the decisions and researching. But the researching, I don't know. Maybe I have an approach of not very uh, I don't know, say like it's very pragmatic and very direct into getting things done. I, it's like I I sold myself to the evil of just getting things done and not doing it correctly how I really wanted it. But just to answer you, because I feel like now we're in this moment that we just need to get things done faster than the other one. So we appear first. It's in that realm that we're working. So the research sometimes is you guys know Mobin is that website just collects screenshots of multiple websites and multiple flows. So sometimes we just go there and analyze how others are doing this, like very specific flow, if they are, and just okay, this is a pattern that looks good. Let's go. We can fix it later, because we can fix it later is such a old thing we usually do. But today is actually we can fix it next week because that's the pace.
But how do you know what to fix if you're not
No,
testing it?
it's a client customer feedback. That's what I mean. Like there's feedback from customers. Oh, I recently did my first. Can I swear?
Yes.
My
Why
first
not?
fuck up, because I think I've been working so much in back office products in the past, or unreleased products, and for the first time I'm working on a thing that just gets blasted to thousands of customers, and I was not used to it, and I just did a change, and I discussed with the other designer and the product, and they said, "Oh God, this is such a feature we like. Customers are always asking for this, but customers in a pool of so many, it's just a very abstract thing. So a lot of them really liked that because it's such a simple thing. So we were sharing cards with the ads, but Facebook and Instagram shows like a rectangle or like a portrait rectangle,
Vertical one.
because
Yeah.
that's how you see it on the feeds. But a lot of users use all the Facebook square ads. So the ones that use videos, oh, this is awesome. Now my videos are actually the size they are. But the other ones got like a blurry picture. So the backgrounds, like so it fits on that rectangle. Oh, how do I turn this off? Like bring back the old size. And I had to deal with this. Oh, I just did the thing. I thought I was so happy that I did something, and I just made the life of so many customers worse, and so many other customers nice. Like it's just this balance that I was not used
So
to.
it's like
But
the research is by doing the work. So you do the work and then the research emerges
yeah, that's
from
the thing. There's
feedback
a
of
lot
the
of
world.
like I said, in this company, they have a lot of people just they used to work on this business, and now they are employees, so helping the business get there to be better to the customers like them. So they are actually building for themselves. So a lot of research is talking to them how this would be useful for you. It's just our pool of customers that are smaller, and then assume that it's going to be useful for the other thousands. But then there's this thing like I quickly just found a way to let's mitigate this. What exactly they're needing? Why are they complaining? So I found a toggle to just switch back just for those kind of customers. They can switch back and relax that the size of the previews are how they like it, and the other ones have the default which fits their purpose. So yeah, it's go on the flow. It's no time for so much research.
I have to stick to the 20 minutes rule, George.
Yes.
So I have to pass on to Samuel.
Please.
Thank you very much for sharing. I know that there's a lot of things here that I'm going to try to replicate in my process. Samuel has a lot of experience, in my opinion. I work with Samuel as well in the past. I know that he has been a freelancer, works in agencies, startups, so he has like all this broad range of experience. So I think that you're going to bring a lot of interesting things to the table.
Hopefully,
tell us more about that.
It's going to be very underwhelming after George. Going after George, I must tell you that.
I don't think so.
Also, I have a lot of questions, so many questions to George as well. So I think we need another one of these.
Okay.
But I'm Samuel. I live in Portugal. I'm based in this beautiful south coast of Portugal in the Algarve. And again, like very similar background to Claudia, and I guess everyone here. I studied a little bit of like a generic design in university. Learned a bit of everything: 3D, motion graphics, kind of industrial design a little bit, also communication, graphic. And then the moment where I wrote my first Hello World, to me that was like my aha moment. What? Something that you code, you can like, it shows on the website. What? I didn't even have a computer at the time. So like to me that was like the light bulb moment. I love that, which meant that any idea, it also coincided with the launch of like the iPhone apps, you being able to bring your ideas to market. So I was like, whoa, this opens so many doors. I can like finally launch all these ideas and work on these things. And now with AI even more, which I'll get to. But yeah, that's where I started. Did a bit of everything, worked in internal marketing agencies for big brand corporations in Portugal, in big small startups inside big enterprise clients, and the opposite, big enterprise clients in the States and all that stuff. And then small startups like with you, George, and Fabio, we worked at Clutch and this no-code tool, which I learned a lot. And it was like almost my crash course into, hey, code is the thing, code is the way. And I think it actually is. So like from there, and also working with George, I was like, yeah, this is, I really truly believe that designers like George, designers like product people that think like George are the ones that are gonna truly be successful in the future. Because they have like a bit of everything. They have product mindset, design mindset, but also engineering. They know how the stuff is made, what are the limitations and everything. And if you can bring all that stuff together, I think that's what everything that can bring a really successful product into the market, with longevity and successful and stuff like that. But so yeah, I did a bit of everything, and now I had my 2 kids, and I was like, I need to take the pedal out of the throttle a little bit, and I joined this big consultancy called Nagaro, agency called Nagaro. I mean, it's not an agency, well, although, however, it's a big consultancy, but we work in a very small product studio, we call it. So we are very we're very particular with the clients and RFPs that we respond to, and we're then deployed into these projects, work on them like from 8 months to years. So that's the mindset that I've been working for the last 4 years, which has some great things because it means that you're exposed to all of these different industries, all these different team dynamics, all these different problems that you're trying to solve with the limitations that that it comes with all of the baggage from all these companies, from all these teams, which is a good thing and also most of the times a bad thing. And related to directly with AI, it poses some problems where, for instance, the client that I'm working on right now, they're based in San Francisco. It's a big cybersecurity client in the cybersecurity space, and they don't allow any cloud, any OpenAI, and they have their own proprietary AI, which works on top of OpenAI, which I think is quite funny. But it's like the context and the IPs and everything is kept private, and which means that the output or what you're allowed to do is very limited as well. So that also changes like my exposition. What do I want to say?
Exposure.
Exposure to AI, and the adoption of AI into my product process has been kind of like whatever it's easiest, kind of like what Claudia was saying. Whatever is easiest, whatever is integrated already with either Notion or Figma is what I'm going to use, because it's just, what is easy, like grabbing a cup of coffee that is sitting right here. So
How does that
that's what
look like for you today? I'm really curious about that.
very so for Nagaro, for example, I used it. I had 3 examples. One, Nagaro, which is like the main place where the main team where I work with at the moment. Like Claudia, again, like being able to respond to a lot of pitches, because we all instead of or aside from being deployed into a project where you're full on working 100%, almost like as an internal team member of that team, design team or product team, you're also put into these internal initiatives, and also you have to do client acquisition as well, work with client acquisition, get new clients, or extend existing clients slices. So that means responding to a lot of pitches, RFPs, requests for proposals and stuff, which they are very very, very aggressive in terms of, and ambitious in terms of deadlines. Just yesterday, for example, I was talking with my manager, design manager, Ugo, and they were like, yeah, a new RFP came in, we need to reply. Deadline is by tomorrow with the questions that we have for their team in terms of like, what do we need to know about the product? Okay, let me go into Claude. I can show this, but like I put all the context into Claude, which I've already set up, all of the Nagaro projects, all of the Nagaro folder, which contains all the clients that we work in, templates of pitches that we knew worked really well, and the types of clients that worked really well, proposals that have also worked really well, and the opposite, that we really, really missed, and why. So all that context is in this folder. So I just had to feed it the RFP, which again is usually are these very lengthy, very corporate like folders, files that are very boring to read. So that to me, that saved me like 5-6 hours. Reading that, creating a couple of questions that would be great for us to ask the team, so then we can inform the RFP. So stuff like that, it saves a lot of time that normally you'd be like have to sit down and write, and very intently. Not that it is not very intently, but like very time consuming to do. So it's saving a lot of time for Nagaro. And for the clients, for this, like for example, the client that I'm working right now, I can actually show you. Let me see.
We want to see things, Sam.
Also, like I should say, almost like you guys as well. I love that quote. I had to write it down. I use AI also in almost all of the design stages, if there are still stages at this point. So one of like very explorations, it's the one that stage is the one that I use less, just because again, like it's, to me, that's what brings me the most fun, is like working on a project or a problem, help define it, exploring visually and all that stuff, and going from mood boards and look and feel, bringing all that stuff together in like a few variations and explorations. I like the messiness of it yet. And to me, code, I haven't experimented with it yet a lot, but code, I fear it will take a little bit of that joy from our process. So I've been reluctantly putting it aside, but I know that I'm going to have to try it at some point, like George's was just described. But mostly for this project, what I've been saving me and the team and a lot of time and money, is the handoff process. Okay. So for this client is like I said, a big security name in the States, and they have tons of graphs, charts, bar charts, graph nodes, tree maps, all that stuff to then use on their end products. And in the design system, they wanted to hire Nagaro, in this case myself and 2 more designers, to work on another leg of the design system, another side of it, for data visualization only. So we defined all of the type of charts. We started with the ones that were most used, and most priority, like bar charts, line charts, all the stuff. And we defined all the principles, all the rules, all the variables, color, tokens, fonts, everything. So like everything basically that we could systemize. I don't know how you say it. We did that. So at this point, it saves a lot of time now at this point, and the team on the handoff process. So what I basically did was...
So where do you save this context? So it's just for reference.
Like I said, so for me, it still works a lot in Figma visually, go from mood board to real examples of the graphs that are currently being used in the product that look very inconsistent, bringing all that stuff together, doing some explorations. And then once I start componentizing stuff and things need to start looking more clear, and after some critiques, we have a vision. Once we have that, and once we get closer and closer to the handoff stage, and again, like I should say, the integration in these teams is very limited to some of the, in our case, contractors. Even though, like I said, I like to see myself and present myself to the clients as almost like an internal member of the team. It's still very limited. That's just the reality. So what I do use Figma Make for is bring all that context of the component and build like a component playground here. So all of the variants, size, color, if it's a stack or not, if it's a link, all the variations really that create components in Figma, which I've already done. Figma Make just makes it that much easier to experiment, test. And then what I did was actually build a graph using the components, add interactions on top, add the tooltips that already were defined for these interactions, and then bring over all of the product level interactions that these graphs need to rely on. Like if you need details, you open a graph, a drawer. If there's stacks, they open all these things, down to making this almost like Inception. Like if you press E, it enters this edit mode, and then it gives PMs or developers the ability to say, what if this is in Excel? How does it scale? Or how does it adapt to fit all of this content? Which again, in some of the charts, like that look very more organic, like these ones, it's very hard to define, like in a Jira ticket, which we also have to do, by the way. Like I define all of this behavior, interactions, localization in these props in a Jira format, which we know that, and they told us devs don't read. Might as well have a Figma Make prototype that basically encapsulates all that stuff and is much more dynamic than a text documentation could ever be, and also the static Figma files that already are, which again, I feel like more and more you're working on this project, it needs to be more dynamic because the charts themselves are so complex, things like this, that we need that. So this is the part where for the handoff process has been improving really, really well, down to saying, hey, create a new segmented tab here. Help me figure out where the notifications should be, how they should look like, why, explain the rationale, my alternatives versus theirs. So almost like having this co-designer working with me and bouncing ideas off of each other in Figma Make, which then I use to and bring back to the other file, componentized, and then that's part of the handoff as well. So like this one alone saved me like, I don't know, 4 handoff meetings and like hundreds of Slack messages. Hey, how does this work? Did you forget this edge case or whatever? Edge cases are much easily surfaceable now because again, it's so dynamic. It's like trying the real thing almost. And the good thing is that it's code, so they can actually go here and like look at the animations, look at the transition values, all that stuff. So this is where Figma Make shines for me. Is that it's just not visual like Figma is. Even though they have developer mode, everything is just so much more easy access here.
Because you were using that background that Figma uses all the time with dots, I thought like you had like a special version of Make or something. I was like, what is this? This is cool. Where did you get this?
Yeah, that was a design choice. Also, like this is what you see in the graph here is like a portion of the product, which then this will be inserted on. So like, I don't know if I have here, if I can show without too much context
like
here. That's like a widget or a part of the product, which then gives you analytics to then do whatever the task that you're looking to do as a product owner, security manager, whatever.
This is cool. I love your process, Sam. I'm curious about like you said like you do like Figma like you have here to bridge or to bring things to Make, and then how do you bring things back to Figma again, or do you ever need to?
Mostly it's been a lot of copying. So for example here, the notifications, I liked some of the rationale and a few of the examples, but I could use this guy here, copy design, but without the kit especially, it just brings frames with like shitty name. Sorry to curse. With crappy
That's all
names. Nothing is a component. Nothing has auto layout almost. So like it would be actually be doing the work and plus
Mhm.
more time. So I just normally use my variations and do like a duplicate almost
Mhm.
for
Mhm.
things that are small like that. But yeah,
Mhm.
so far, I mean, that's what I'm hoping kids do or helps out with the process is that bringing all these things, that everything will be linked to the Zen system, all the variables, all the components, components that have already been componentized and are part of the Zen system. That stuff is brought over to Figma,
Mhm.
which is like something. I mean, for me, it's like a no-brainer because everything is Figma, but I also know the limitations of it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
hopefully, kids will help us out in the future here for
Very
this
cool.
project at least.
George, you wanted to ask something.
Yeah, if you guys know Storybook,
Mhm.
we usually do that as a middle ground between the design and the code, and to allow other people to interact with the components individually. And you just build a much friendlier and interactive approach of that handoff process, which is really cool because you can see the individual steps and props of a component, but also see it in where it will be used
Mhm.
with all the interactions. Very cool.
Yeah, we also have, or this product or client also has Storybook set up. So it's like my idea was exactly that. Like I want to have a Storybook like experience with like the component playground before the implementation. Ideally, if the code was good enough, this should be like the MR that they were reviewed and then work on top of. Like the collaboration that I'm missing is that like there's still, at least for some clients, depending on how integrated they are with AI tooling, there's still a lot of like, hey, here's the baton, here's
Mhm.
the Figma, I finished, here's the where you guys can begin. Hopefully that is more integrated. Depending on the client, depending on the products. Some others are more than others, but hopefully more in the future.
Very cool.
Um,
Maybe you can
I
answer
had
it
a
like. Go ahead. Sorry.
go ahead. I had another example, but to show, but you can go ahead.
Okay, maybe you can answer the Claudia's question, which was like, how do you set up the context so that it's always available, and how do you set up your process to do
This
that?
is
To do
again
just what you just showed us.
for this one. I'm reliant on the admin of Figma for this organization. They only can create the Figma make kits, but the context that I'm hoping to keep as the more and more we go is that those guidelines, those principles that we set out for the design system, not just the main design system, but also these distributed legs of I don't know, legs is like the worst name to call it, but you see what I mean, like different parts of the Zen system or subsets, like iconography, variables, primitives, and now the database design system. So everything is much more connected. So I don't have access one for it for the kids. Hopefully that's the part of the kids that help bring that context together. But in Figma Make, that's the pain that I'm feeling. It's that I know that this graph, really cool prototype, will just gain dust after, I don't know, 2 months, whereas it could be used for many other things. Hopefully.
What about the knowledge that? Do you feel like the knowledge that you've gained with all of that and the knowledge that accumulated in the actual prototype, that it's lost somewhere because no one is keeping memories somewhere of its context? And
Yeah,
how are
unfortunately for
you
Figma Make,
solving that?
yeah. For this client, we also have a lot of the duplication part of it is still very real. So the handoff process means that, or the handoff done, the definition of done for this design, for the design process in this company or this organization is like you're entitled of figuring out which problem to work on, fleshing it out, bringing the right people in, writing all of the requirements. This means Jira tasks with interaction, full on PRD level documents, and then executing, and then working with developers. Also after the develop, QA, handoff, QA, all that stuff. And yes, the part of the handoff, post handoff, is the documentation. So right now it's zero height. we're looking at an alternative, because Zero Height, again, is very static. It's very reliant on Figma, whereas Storybook is a better alternative, but also more, at least right now, much more focused on code, and loses that kind of like the product context that we introduced. All of the why is a chart good to use in this case? Like why do you use a bar chart versus a line chart? I know this is a very trivial decision, but most of the
it's
people
not
get it wrong.
It's not trivial.
It's not at all. I was just about to say, in our case, it's like we've been using Storybook for years, and if it was up to me, we would migrate to Zero Height, to be honest.
Really?
Because yes, so it is more complex than that, is all I'm saying. Like, they both has their pros and cons, but I don't know. I find, yeah. Anyway,
my goal
that's a
is
different
that
conversation.
my goal is that independent of your processes, you will be able to bring, independent of where your informational context lives, you'll be able to bring all of these contexts together. So I know that Zero Height, I don't know if they were launched or they're about to launch an MCP, version for their products. Mobbin, I
Yeah.
think, was
So
just launched a MCP. So like
Yes.
all of these things you can bring over and link directly link to whatever Claude, whatever.
Claude
AI
already
use.
has a Zero Height connector, which is
Yeah.
another reason why I was like, damn it, I could use that. But it's a matter of time, I guess, with
Matter
these
of
things.
time,
Like,
exactly. I hope.
One of the things that all of you mentioned as like the devil in the details is the tokens, right? I am curious to know your perspective on how to save tokens. We talked a little bit more about that. And what do you think is the future for design tokens? Because whilst you're doing design, you're spending a lot of tokens, especially like when you're trying to implement stuff. Do you have any kind of like idea of where that goes or how to improve that process?
I don't know. I also try to. We were talking about ethics as well. I also try to be or think about it ethically as well. I always go by this that I read I don't know where. Just because you can doesn't mean that you should. And it applies to so many things, and it goes to like overusing of AI where it really helps, but most of the times, for instance, an example that I'm actually dealing with right now. I have another computer right here that I'm trying to put out this fire where a designer used Figma Make to create this really great, beautiful, glowing animation with an orb simplifying or signifying state for this native UI app. Looked great. It was validated, but now no one can implement it. What I did was go on Lottie. I did all the things with Lottie. I forget their tool for animating all the different layers with all these Gaussian blurs and everything. And in the end, it rendered badly with a lot of glitches. So in the end, a lot of time was spent. So it was costly for the company, not in just in tokens, but in people, man hours or people hours, myself included. And in the end, it's not going to be possible. So like I said, it doesn't, sometimes when it doesn't, just because you can doesn't mean that you should, or at least if you do, understand the restraints, the limitations. So again, like this goes to what George was saying, understand how stuff is built. Speak the the code language, because it will give you much more context as to if something is possible or not because AI allows it for now. So I try to and also if you give a kid a hammer, they don't know how to use it, right? So they're gonna use it the wrong way. Same thing with AI. If you use it a lot of times, it's like to a certain point, are you actually working and doing something useful, or are you just doing around in circles of trying to look like you're working without actually outputting something that is useful, putting it out in the market, seeing how it responds, like George was saying. And to me, that's like the perfect workflow. Try it out, put it live. Even if it breaks some stuff, then you at least know why it broke and what's the feedback. Then learn from it and iterate on it. But yeah,
if I could give my 2 cents, is that
please.
On that approach. On your first question, I was now questioning myself, what is my role? Because I spent all my life becoming this designer that can code. And now suddenly everyone can code because we have the AI doing the code for us. And what have I been doing? I've been wasting all my time. But at the same time, I guess I can leverage the token economics for later because I know how things work. I know how to be specific on my prompts, so consume less tokens, and there's my advantage, because other than that, anyone can do what I've been all these years trying to be able to make. But yeah, I guess it's also something that I noticed. Everyone can code, everyone can do stuff, but then the code that is produced and the output, or in other words, the output is exactly what I wanted, but the code they produced is so much bigger or convoluted to produce the thing that it's not manageable by a human later. So you just become with ending becoming with this whole mass of code that does what you want, but it's not performant, it's not maintainable, it doesn't grow well. So it's there's still a balance. It's not just anyone can code. It's there's still a value in knowing how things work. But yeah, it's totally different from a year ago.
Yeah, it's crazy how quick things and how dramatically things have changed in the period of a year. I was going to give kind of the exact same answer than George, but from a more designy point of view, less so code. I think that really is it. Like, I guess, and to Samuel's point, like this also brings in ethics and kind of like personal preference. I kind of go at it with a little bit of a question in mind, which is like, am I trying to replace work that requires like critical thinking, or am I just trying to be more efficient? If it's the latter, I'll use AI. If it's the first, I won't. And that's kind of like what, and I was alluding to this earlier, like if you go to AI with something, and you said it to George, if you go to AI with something very specific, if you know what you want, you're going to get much better, much faster results, and you're going to, beat the token economics kind of. So, and I think to me, at least right now, it strikes the perfect, because we don't know where it's going to be in a year, right? But right now it strikes this perfect balance between me keeping exercising these, muscles, this brain that I think makes me the designer that I am. Because I also worry about us becoming too dependent on AI and then not knowing how to do our jobs anymore. It allows me to keep all these things that I find interesting, like bringing in, user insight, business goals, all the teams kind of input into the work. I did mention this earlier, but I use almost Fig Gem is the tool that I use the most these days. I love, I have my Wacom. I'm constantly sketching out stuff digitally and passing it around. And
So
nice. I think AI actually has accelerated this use of like pen and paper type thing, which I really love. It's like whatever gets you there. I'm actually just gonna share this screen
please,
I'm
that's
looking
cool.
at.
I share
It's like
the
the jump from a rough idea, literally a sketch, to like a tangible thing. It's so much shorter now.
Yeah, it's this kind of thing. Like I'll bring in a mix of post-it screens, I'll sketch over, I'll get the team to contribute, and we're basically defining like what we want to do in whatever way works. And sometimes this is the input that we're giving AI. It's like it doesn't have to be like, okay, as Waterfall asked us before, as you first discover, then you do the Azure wireframes, then you go into Photoshop. Gosh, like it's just everything's more fluid, right? Like you can go from discovery to delivery back to, yeah. I'm quite enjoying that. Sorry, I took that in a different direction.
That's beautiful. I love that. It's your space. You do whatever you want, Claudia. I think what you said is extremely powerful, because I see a lot of the doom and gloom on every platform that I can look into, where design is dead. Nobody will use Figma anymore. But what I see as the on the upside of that is exactly the opposite. I see that design is becoming a lot more valuable, in my opinion, and especially because there was one thing in a previous iteration of doing design where a lot of product owners, CEOs, leaders, whatever, what they missed was the language of design. They needed a design leader to be able to speak with other designers. And that design leader, his role is probably just creating context, right? And now, for me, giving great design feedback relies on context. I believe that context is king. And what we are becoming very good at, everyone is becoming very good at, is at defining beautiful context and very thorough context, so that when we summon one of these LLMs, we can give it like incredible, pristine some context, and we can get a lot better results. So that's what I really like, and I think that's where the design skill and the design thinking skill, particularly, would make us much better designers and much more valuable. That's kind of like my thinking when I think about design and
But
how.
also, that's a good interesting, because I read something the other day also that said, or the premise was that design is stop being a skill. It will become being more like a language that everybody speaks one more fluently than others, but everyone is like this baseline of, are you working on the right thing? Is the output or the expectation of the thing that you worked on, was it once you put it live, was it well received versus not? And like figuring out what the taste, and it's a whole different, it's a whole thing on top of that. It's more it's basically the premise was it's going to stop becoming or being a skill and be more like a language that everyone should learn to some extent
100%.
and speak more fluently, right? Just like English or
100%.
Portuguese or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. I have one last question for all of you. If you wanted to ask someone else that was as much experienced with AI tools and design as you are, or even more experienced, what would you like to know? The reason why I'm asking this is, like, in the next thing that I do like this, I'm going to ask that question to those to those people. What is the one thing that you might not know right now, but you'd like to know a little bit more?
I have one. Actually, I wanted to ask you guys, and probably is very, very. It has been asked a lot lately between your peers, but is this mix of, are you working more because of AI, or are you resting more because AI can do so much more stuff that take you, like in Claudia's example, 1 hour, 2 hour thing became 20
Working
minutes.
more.
Does that mean you end up working more? Because at my last startup, I was just working so much more hours and doing so much more things. And that's the thing, you can do so much more things on your 8-hour day, but then, I can do this too. Let's prompt it more. Let's do this. Let's find this other route. And you end up working even more hours. So is this tool coming to help us or help our bosses?
That's a good question.
That's a
Anyone
really good
else?
one. For me, it's like
what are your
okay, we're gonna answer now.
consequences?
I'm working much more
Yeah,
now.
I'd like to. I had this question for you, but it could be used for the others too.
Do you wanna go,
I'm
Sam?
working more.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Especially
it's
because
also like
the work
it's also like
requires a lot
expected.
more thinking.
Sorry, go ahead, Fabi.
I said, like, especially because the work requires a lot more thinking. The reason why I'm saying this, in the past, when you were working on screens, you could like be a whole day just creating like 20, 50 screens focused, and that was great. And your brain felt like, whoa, I did amazing. Today, it's more about defining rules, defining the context, and that's very taxing to your brain. So you end up working more just because the type of work that you do is completely different from what you used to.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe it's less so working more because that's a little bit subjective, but it's a lot more context switching, and that is so taxing to our brains.
Yeah,
100%. And like you said, George, as well, if you're like me, and I bet we all like that, we all have ideas that we would like to work on apart from like the stuff that we work on. It's like, even
never
like
comes.
the other day, it never stops. Like, my friend told me about he manages HR, manages like a lot of service workers in Switzerland. He struggles a lot is because he's dealing with like Google Maps, and in my brain went like, we can easily do like a really quick app. Dude, just send me a screenshot, whatever your problem is, I'll do it. And I'm working on it right now. Why? I don't know, just because I'm a good friend, I guess. But because it's possible again. And if I can help him not burn out, I guess I'll burn out myself in this case. But hopefully not.
What's your question? What is your doubt, Sam? We need to wrap
me,
this up,
it's like,
otherwise we never finish.
Oh yeah, I could be here for all day. But to me, it's like collaboration because at least for now, for me, it's very isolated. I'm working on Claude, whatever I'm in Figma, and it looks very isolated. The artifacts that you create, the context that you create, is very localized to you or your machine or the project that you are. And especially in big like consultancy agencies like I'm on right now, that context needs to be shared a lot more because if not, all of us will be doing the same things but in isolation. It will converge at some point, but the thinking, the context, the divergence thinking still happens in isolation. There's a lot of divergent thinking, but it's not thinking together, if that makes sense. So I'm curious to know how people are tackling that collaboration side. That is not just, hey, I work in code is really fast to put up online, they review it, and then we decide on an idea. That works great, but for more divergent thinking, where research needs to be a thing and exploration and all that stuff, I wonder if it's been or if people are how are they tackling and incorporating that into their
That's a good question.
their workflows.
Claudia, do you want to share something?
Share or ask a question?
Ask the question.
You're like, no more answers, please. Yeah, my question would be around. I'm struggling to define it with one word. I'm gonna go with the word like creativity. How does creativity fit into these new processes? And to illustrate that a little bit more, is stuff that we've been talking about for the past hour. And so it's like, what happens to brand expression? What happens to creative solutions? Like, a lot of our work is, a lot more than placing design components together and calling it a day. And I worry that, AI is going to make our work more so about that. So I would love to hear from folks, like, how do they navigate that? How do they make sure they don't fall into that trap? How do we, keep like products, innovative and expressive
with soul? Yeah,
with soul.
with soul.
Lovely. And as you know me, I love feedback. What can I do better next time? Because I know that we set up this very quickly. There was probably like a lot of time for each one of us. I don't know. How did you feel for you? I'm curious. This format.
I have no complaints.
Please fill in your complaint box.
But and I'm sorry to just bring back, but I ended up questioning you guys instead of bringing a question for others later. So
no, I'm gonna ask that question, George.
But I wanted to rephrase it because you guys answered and I see, okay, the answer is going to be the same. Everyone is working more. So the question would be, what are you going to do to not end up going into this vortex of getting worked more? So that's the thing I also want to start thinking. I need to balance my life and not the worst. But yeah, no complaints at this this format.
Shut down the laptop.
I think it was great.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, Fabio, I think it was really amazing. I had such a great time. I was meant to have left already, and I stayed. So that's I think that's the best feeling. I think one thing I will say is that I really enjoyed once we got like a bit more back and forth towards the end. So maybe like leaving some time for that, I think would be quite cool.
Yes, I think I need to improve there as well. And also, like, what I liked a lot is when people are actually sharing stuff and like we can like see what they're doing and stuff like that. That was really interesting.
I love that as well. Great fun.
Great.
Same.
Guys, thank you very much. And I hope to see everyone that is seeing this next time.